Welcome to the Commander Crew, a Magic the Gathering Commander YouTube channel where we ask the question, who's your commander?
We want to thank you for watching our videos. You can help support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell notification icon.
You can also go to thecommandercrew.com to check out our t-shirts, masks, pet hoodies, and other Commander Crew goodies.
If you want to buy any of the cards seen in this video, be sure to click our TCG Player affiliate link in the show notes below.
Lastly, you can help us out by heading to our official Patreon page and becoming a direct supporter of the channel. Now let's get to the video. Oh no. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Commander Crew. My name is Corey, and how you doing? How's it going? We're back with the quick takes. So fast. We're back with the quick takes. Most of, if not all, of the new set, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, has been spoiled, I believe. Again, if it hasn't, it's maybe a couple of cards from the precons. And yeah, so we're breaking down a real quick take of, let's butcher names here, Vrondis, Rage of Ancients. This is one of the Precon commanders that is coming out for the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Hold on, let me just finish burping really quick. There we go. All right, so today we're talking about Vrondis, Rage of Ancients, from the new set Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Now, I'm not a huge D&D person. I've played a few times. I would love to play more, but my group of friends doesn't exactly dip their toes into that water. I do have friends who do it, but I'll see them. They're gone. So, but yeah, I've dabbled here and there with Dungeons and Dragons. So, if I get some of the names wrong or the lore wrong or something, please just know that I'm not doing it. I'm doing it because I'm legitimately stupid and I just don't know it. All right, so today we're talking about Vrondis, Rage of Ancients. This is the Gruul commander coming out of the new precons, which there are 5 of, maybe? Sure, we'll say 5. This is the, I guess, damage matters with die rolls kind of deck. Let's read it, shall we? All right, so Vrondis, Rage of Ancients, 3 green-red for legendary creature, dragon, barbarian. Has an Enrage ability, says whenever Vrondis, Rage of Ancients is dealt damage, you may create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token with, when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, you may have Vrondis deal 1 damage to itself. So there's a few different routes you can take with this deck. This is actually one of the ones that I want to build around because for some reason, green-red has been like on my jam lately. Between Marisi and Dennis Nedry's Tiny Dinos. I've been loving red-green. I've been loving Gruul. So I want to build around this because I think it'd be a lot of fun, especially with new cards from this new set that have to do with dice rolling. I think it would be really cool. So we're not really going to dive into a specific deck here. We're just going to talk about a few cards that I think would work really well, and then you can take this information and do with it what you want until we do a full deck tech, which will come in the future, I promise. And yeah, you can go a few different ways. So, I mean, just one of the ways you can do is full dice roll, because Vrondis cares about dice rolling. You can go full Enrage, which I kind of already have an Enrage deck with Dennis Nedry, so I don't know if I'll go that route. And then you could do kind of like a dragon sub-theme, because you create dragons, and there's a ton of different things you can do with that. But I think the thing that is going to happen the most here is going to be a mix of dice roll with this, like, creatures entering the battlefield and then sacrificing. So it's going to be a weird hodgepodge of abilities this deck is, I think. But I think it's going to be really cool. So let's talk about a few cards. We're going to start with stuff from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, and then we'll kind of dive into a few things that have been out for a while that everybody knows of. So, Barbarian class is the first card who we're going to talk about. Classes are a new enchantment type that come from this set. They're kind of like sagas, kind of like those level up creatures from back in the day, melded into one thing. So, you have an enchantment that comes into the battlefield that has one standard ability. In the beginning, in this case, it says, if you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. So giving yourself advantage for those of you in the D&D world, where you take two dice, you roll them, and then you just take the higher of the 2 damage, or higher of the 2 numbers, excuse me. It's level 2 ability, which you activate as a sorcery for 1 in a red. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains menace till end of turn. And then level 3 for a sorcery, 2 in a red. Creatures you control have haste, which would be great for this deck because you want your dragons that are pumping out there to just be able to hit the battlefield and punch people in the face. So that's important. So yeah, the barbarian class is definitely a card. Regardless of the theme you go with, you're probably going to want to run this. I think I'm going to run it. Next up is Brazen Dwarf, again from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. The next couple, I think the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 of them are going to be Forgotten Realms cards. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, if you're going to go heavy into the dice rolling, this would be a great card to throw in here for 1 in a red. Pretty cheap, and it cares about dice, which is great. Sorry, these are coming from all over the place. Chaos Channeler is another one. 2 red for a human shaman for 3. It has an ability called Wild Magic Surge. Whenever Chaos Channeler attacks, roll a d20, which is an important distinction. The dice that come with a lot of the bundles and a lot of the supplementary products are not d20s. They're 20-sided dice, but they're spin down. So they're arranged in a way where you can kind of keep track of life total. You're going to actually have to get, if you don't already have one, an actual, I don't think I have any within arm's reach, an actual D20 that is, I believe each side, so this side and then the opposite side all add up to 21. So keep that in mind. So whenever Chaos Channeler attacks, roll a d20. So 1 to 9, you exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn. 10 to 19, you exile the top 2 cards of your library. You can play them this turn. And then a natural 20, exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So just giving you some card advantage. Even though with green you can draw a ton of cards, but this cares about dice and it's giving you card advantage. I think it's definitely good to run in here. Delina, Wild Mage, 3 and a red for a legendary creature, Elf Shaman, a 3/2. When it attacks, choose target creature you control, then roll a d20. 1 to 14, you create an attacking token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it has exile this creature at the end of combat, and 15 to 20, create one of those tokens and then roll again. So you just kind of, if you get 15 or higher, you just get to keep doing it, which is great. So you do this on like a Dockside Extortionist. Just saying, it's a pretty good combination. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then I think the last one we have here, there's a ton of good stuff from the new set. The next one we have here is Hoarding Ogre, 3 and a red. Whenever Hoarding Ogre attacks, roll a d20. 1 to 9, create a treasure token. 10 to 19, create 2 treasure tokens, and then a natural 20, you create 3 treasure tokens. So obviously the higher you get on the roll, the better the results. Much like regular D&D, it's a cool card. And then you have cool things like, let's see if I can pull this guy up. Like Old Gnawbone, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. There's a lot of really good stuff in this set that's going to work here. So, keep your eyes open for a lot of the Forgotten Realms stuff. Because, again, especially if you're going heavy on the dice theme, I checked, unless your playgroup allows you to use silver bordered cards, there's not a lot out there. Actually, there's nothing out there really that says roll a dice. So, yeah. If you want to go heavy on the dice roll, you're either just going to be upgrading that deck, probably the Precon, or you're going to be using a lot of Forgotten Realms cards. So the next couple cards that we have here aren't necessarily dice rolling cards, but I think they're going to go really good in this style of deck, because the other ability here, the Enrage ability, says whenever it's dealt damage, you create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token, which is pretty formidable. And there are ways around the sacrifice clause. There's the card Sundial the Infinite, so you can tap it in response to I guess that's not the best idea because then you don't deal the damage, so maybe not. Don't do that. I'm a professional. All right, let's talk about that Enrage ability first. So we have Pyrohemia, which is 2 red for an enchantment that says at the beginning of the end step, if no creatures are on the battlefield, sacrifice Pyrohemia. You can pay a red to deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. So this is good for a multitude of reasons, but you can, just kind of ping up to 3 times 3 times your commander to make some dragons, which if you have your barbarian class leveled up or any other means of giving those dragons haste, there's a ton of cards that give dragons haste. You can then swing in and deal some crazy amount of damage with that. So Pyrohemia is definitely worth putting in this deck. Anything with Enrage is worth putting Pyrohemia in that deck. Prodigal Sorcerer is a pretty interesting creature. 2 and a red for a 1/1 human wizard. You can tap it to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. I think it's probably ratted to any target now at this point, but yeah, you can just use it to smack Vrondis for 1-2 damage if you can untap it. Make yourself a couple dragons. It is a creature, so it can die pretty easily, but if you just need it at the end there, it could be a game changer. Don't sleep on Prodigal Sorcerer. And then a neat older card I found here from Alliance is Hailstorm. It's 1 green for an instant. Hailstorm deals 2 damage to each attacking creature and 1 damage to each creature you control. So this is great to wipe out a board of tokens. And then, you could do a complete board wipe, maybe, and then ping your Vrondis for 1, and now you have Vrondis and a dragon and however many other creatures you've had that are ready to go on the crackback, because we don't like being attacked. We don't like it. And then this is a neat card, especially in a deck like this, that you don't really want to sleep on. I definitely slept on this card. Anara Wolvid Familiar, 3 and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Wolf Beast. Says, as long as it's your turn, commanders you control have indestructible. So you could Pyrohemia as many times as you wanted if this is out on the battlefield, because as long as you have red mana, because your commander's indestructible. So finding ways to make your commander indestructible and then being able to just incrementally damage it. Just finding ways to just damage it quite a bit to make a ton of dragons. Again, with your barbarian class out, giving everything haste, or anything giving your creatures haste, that's nuts. Finding a way to just make a boatload of tokens, of dragon tokens, and just swinging in on an unexpected board is going to be insane, and I can't wait to figure out a way to do it. So like the card says, at the end of that first ability, when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. We want to find ways to find value in that sacrifice. Things like Goblin Bombardment. You can sacrifice the creature with that trigger on the stack to deal 1 damage to any target. You could deal the 1 damage back to Vrondis, kind of cycling through your dragons, which is a really good idea. Or you can just deal those damage, or deal that damage straight to your opponents, to your opponent's creatures. Goblin Bombardment is just an excellent kind of toolbox card for any reason, especially when you have to sacrifice a creature. If you can just, in response to the trigger from Vrondis, put it in Goblin Bombardment, deal the damage back to Vrondis, make a new dragon, or to somebody's face. It's worth doing. Why waste that sacrifice? It's been like 10 minutes since I just said that last sentence. Why waste it on a sack for 1 damage when you can turn it into mana? You can do something like Phyrexian Altar, sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any color. Or you could do Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice a creature, add 2 colorless mana. So, just sacrifice, find something to sacrifice the creature for. Don't just let it die. Figure out a way to use it. Another cool thing you can do here is Greater Good. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards, which kind of stinks, but you're drawing a ton. You can filter out things you don't need. So yeah, when you go to sacrifice for the trigger from Vrondiss, you just, in response, sacrifice it to Greater Good, and then draw some cards. Pretty good. So the other thing that we need to look at here is it makes dragons. So let's look at some cool, just like A, it makes dragons, and B, it makes creatures. So creatures are entering the battlefield, dragons are entering the battlefield. Let's find some ways to abuse that. So Udvalra Hellkite here is a dragon that whenever a dragon you control attacks, you create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. So you're just turning your ground 5/4 dragons into flying 6/6 red dragons. So then you can just swing over everybody and not worry about ground creatures, because it's dumb. I don't know why these dragons don't have flying, but whatever. So yeah, this just kind of turns your ground dragons attacking into flying dragons, which is great. Another all-star here from creatures entering the battlefield. You have Perforos, God of the Forge. You really don't care about anything else except for whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. dealing 2 damage whenever a creature enters is great. Perforos is a game ender. If you can, again, find ways to just spam the damage onto Vrondis with something that makes it indestructible, you can just kill the entire table out of nowhere. It's great. Another fun one here is Warstorm Surge, 5 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. This is 5 damage being thrown around. Like, that's no joke. So Warstorm Surge is great to have in here. In the same vein, Terror of the Peaks, 3 red for a dragon, a 5/4. Flying, spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast, whatever. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. It's Warstorm Surge on a stick. It's worth having, and it's a dragon. So if you're going in the dragon route, you're gonna go heavy dragons, which I may do like a dice roll dragons combination now that I'm looking into it. No brainer, throw this in there. And then something like Parallel Lives, Doubling Season, something that's going to double the tokens. You know, you deal 1 damage to Vrondis, you make 2 tokens, 2 Warstorm Surge, try saying that 10 times fast, triggers, is going to be great. So Parallel Lives and Doubling Season both put extra tokens, double tokens into the battlefield. Doubling Season gives you more counters, I believe. Parallel Lives just cares about tokens, but definitely excellent cards to throw in this deck. And then we want to make sure that those dragons can attack right away. We don't want them just kind of sitting on the field. You know, if you can find a way to deal the damage to Vrondis before your turn, like, you know, on the end step of the player before you, that's great, but that's not always going to be the case. So something like Fires of Yapamaya, it's an enchantment for 1 red-green. Creatures you control have haste. You can sacrifice this to target creature, to give target creature +2/+2 till end of turn, but unless you're ending the game with that, you're just going to keep it on the field to give creatures you control haste. So pretty good. And then you have something like Rhythm of the Wild. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Great. But then non-token creatures you control have Riot, which is from back in Guild of Ravnica, something like that. Riot means when they enter, you can either give them a +1/+1 counter or haste. The +1/+1 counter is great, but we want to give them haste more than anything. But Rhythm of the Wild in any Gruul deck is going to do some damage, so worth putting in. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Before we do the full deck tech, these are, again, just some cards to get you started, to get the juices flowing, get those creative bits. So awkward. Just get those creative bits going, guys. Just the little tiny nuggets of creativity. I need them flowing from your eyeballs, your brains. It's like midnight. I'm so tired. Not meant to be a full deck tech. I will be doing a full deck tech on this after the set comes out, once I kind of have some chances to get my hands on the cards and play around with them. You know, Wizards of the Coast, hit us up. We'll take some early copies so we can review it fully and give you our opinions. Sponsored, hashtag not sponsored, but could be. You know, let's do it. Yeah, so that's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this video. You know, be sure to check back. We'll be doing a lot more quick takes over the next few weeks. The set does come out next week. No, 2 weeks. On the 23rd, I believe, the set fully releases. So over the next week, expect to be seeing a lot more of these quick takes for a couple of different commanders. We're not going to do all of them because there's a ton. This set has a lot of legendary creatures, so we're kind of taking the ones that we like and doing some quick takes there. But if there's ones you want to see, let us know in the comments below, and we'll do it. We'll take it. We'll do it for you if we're already going to do it, because that's why we're here. We're here for that. We're here for you guys. We want to help you out. But yeah, let us know. We'll do whatever ones you want us to do. we just are so desperate for your approval that we'll do it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this. And as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can go to commandercrew.com to see all things related to us. You can get access to our Discord server. You can get access to our YouTube, which you're already here, so... our merch store, and any of our affiliate links are on our website there, so make sure to check that out. Also, there's 1 week left for our giveaway. If you haven't already heard about it, check out our previous video or go to Instagram or Twitter to see the details. It should be the first post that's on there. If not, it's like one of the next couple. We're giving away 1 Black is Magic Secret Lair and 1 of your choice of any of the Strixhaven Precons minus Lorehold because I don't have it, but any of the other ones you get to choose. Right now, there's not a ton of people entered, so you have a solid chance of winning. So again, check out our previous video, the one of the gameplay with Chatterfang and Yusri, all those for Modern Horizons 2, and you can hear all the details about that giveaway. But yeah, check that out if you haven't already. And as always, who's your commander? I just punched the microphone. I'm so sorry. Who's your commander? Peace.